We're going to play a $64 pick 3 ticket starting in the Carter. We're going to use, of course, the favorite, Forest Danger, and Don 6. I think Don 6 is going to be very dangerous in here. I think he's the one that makes the lead. Wood Memorial, well-matched field. Bellamy Road, Zito's horse, one of 5 contenders. You got to use him. Survivalist, coming off that big win last time out in the Gotham. Going Wild, my actual top pick in here. I like the way he's been running in California. And Tom wants to throw in Naughty New Yorker. I agree with him. The horse will be running at the end. Then in the Illinois Derby, 4 horses in there. Greeley's Galaxy. That's my top pick. He's won 2 in a row. Monarch Lane, Todd Pletcher. You got to use Pletcher in almost all your tickets. Magna Graduate, who won the Battaglia at Turfway Park and then ran in the Lane's End, Tom. And then Kansas City Boy, breaking from the outside. That's a $64 ticket for a $2 bet.
This is the way it usually works with Mike. He starts out every sentence by, give me a dollar amount.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, Kenny. Let's go to you now for the Carter handicap back in Aqueduct.
All right, Tom, thanks. This could actually turn out, Donna, to be our preview of the Breeders' Cup Sprint later on NBC at Belmont Park, about 15 minutes away from here this fall. For both Artax and Gulch have been able to win the Carter and go on to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. The favorite right now, even money favorite, just posted up here on the tote board, is the number 6 horse, Forest Danger. The 6 horse trained by Todd Pletcher. Rafael Bejarano is the jockey.
Yeah, and right now, Mass Media is coming in at 7-2 right now, the second choice in here, and tied at third choice are the 4 Medalist and the 5 Don 6.
Mass Media, trained by Bobby Frankel, who was supposed to be here with Badge of Silver. He had pointed him in that direction. Instead, he is here now with Mass Media. Javier Castellano up. They teamed up to win the Grade 3 sports page, the same distance over this track back in October.
And I think Mass Media has a chance to capitalize on this, what looks like is going to be a really contentious pace up front. And Mass Media looks like he could lay right off of that pace and maybe just try to nail him in the end.
Medalist is another horse in here. Jose Santos rides for Hall of Fame trainer Alan Jerkins. He has 2 wins over this distance of 7 furlongs. These are 3-year-olds and up going 7 furlongs here in the Grade 1 Carter.
Medalist is the horse I alluded to earlier without mentioning his name. He's had the 3rd fastest Beyer speed figure in the United States this year in his last race at Gulfstream Park.
6 years ago, Artax set the track and stakes record, 120 flat. We have seen some fast times here today. As you look one more time at Rafael Bejarano in the irons with Forest Danger, who is the 4-5 favorite now.
We also have Don 6 that we mentioned. He's going to show a ton of speed. This horse worked in 43-4 over at Philadelphia Park. He's got the speed. If they call on him, he could actually get a lead by himself.
He has won 2 of 3 since coming to the barn of trainer Scott Lake and ran a good second, losing out by just a nose in the General George to Saratoga County, who went to Dubai and won the $2 million Golden Shaheen. That's the 5 horse Don 6. It is a windy day here. Sun is out. Again, we keep talking about the fast track. We're not predicting that Artax 120 flat is going to be broken.
I've never seen a race go faster than 120 flat, but this track has been fast enough that it's going to if it's going to happen, it might happen here today and in this race with these fast horses.
Well, we have 3 speedsters in here for certain. 1 more to load. Forest Danger, the favorite. Let's go upstairs now to the top of Aqueduct and the man who will call our race, Tom Durkin.
They're in the gate. And they're off. And it's primary suspect who comes out first. Don 6th, and there goes Medalist. In between horses, Mass Media up the backstretch. Don 6 up to sprint and get that lead, and Medalist is now left a length and a half behind in second, and it's 3 lengths back to Mass Media. Forest Danger is 7 lengths away from Don 6. And at the back of the pack early, Unforgettable Maxon, primary suspect. Don 6 through a quarter with the wind at his back in 21 2/5 seconds. He's got a 3-length lead with a half mile to go. Medalist continues in pursuit second. Forest Danger now called on for one, and there he goes. Forest Danger now 3.5 lengths from Don 6. On the inside, Mass Media 4th. A break of 3 lengths back to Unforgettable Maxon, primary suspect, and the midway round the far turn. The half went in a sensational 43 1/5 seconds. Here comes Medalist now, up to the neck of Don 6. And Forest Danger joins the leaders on the outside third. They're coming toward the final furlong now. Don 6 is down. Forest Danger continues. finish. Forest Danger has taken the lead at the 16th pole. Forest Danger, medalist battles on. Don 6 gives way. Forest Danger wins the Carter in 1 minute 20 and 2/5 seconds. Spectacular time and a great performance. Medalist finishing second, Don 6 was third.
The odds-on favorite, Forest Danger, just 2/5 of a second off the track record set by Artax 6 years ago, turning in a 1:20 and 2 here to win the 105th running of the Carter Handicap. As you see, Forest Danger and Rafael Bejarano, and we pick it up as they turn for home, Donna Brothers.
Kenny, that was just an unbelievable performance by good horses. The horse on the lead, Don 6, goes 43 and 1 for the half mile, 107 and 2 for the 3/4 mile fraction. And Forest Danger looked like he kind of made a middle move as they were approaching the turn, but he just was the strongest one in the final furlongs, and to run in 1:20 and 2, you came pretty close to predicting that they might break the track record, but they came very close to tying it, just 2 ticks off.
Forest Danger, sidelined with the hairline fracture in his rear leg last spring, had that long layoff, came back strong to win here by 9.5 lengths. That was kind of a warm-up for him in Gulfstream Park, and turns in a impressive performance here today.
Well, you know, you wouldn't think we'd be seeing a preview for the sprint in March, but it's going to be great to watch these horses run throughout the year.
We begin the NTRA Spring Pick 3 with Forest Danger, the odds-on favorite, winning here at Aqueduct in the Carter Handicap. Let's go back to Santa Anita and Tom Hammond.
All right, Kenny, Forest Danger, the 4-year-old son of forestry, racing in the colors of Aaron and Marie Jones, traded by Todd Pletcher, ridden by Rafael Bejarano. And we'll be back with the official results of the Carter. But first, this word from...
Medalist returning 390 and 290 and 270 for Don 6, who came in third. But Forest Danger, an impressive performance, just 2/5 off the track record, 1:20 and 2, returning that 370 for the heavy favorite here in the Carter Handicap. With this week, so they would settle for 1 or 2 in this race. Scrappy T, 11 to 1. He probably likes that. His last 4 races, he's been at least 10 to 1 or higher, and never worse than third. By a nose, Joe is scratched. Bellamy Road from the strong Nick Zito barn, going wild from D. Wayne Lucas's barn. Pavo involved in a controversy his last race here. Galloping Grocer and Naughty New Yorker are field here for this, the 81st running of
Dallin
the Wood
Garcia's
Memorial.
saddle slipped forward, and it was teetering precariously on his withers. Right here you see Galloping Grocer came out, bumped him ever so slightly, but it caused Garcia to lose his iron, and he was never able to recover it. He ended up kicking out both irons.
During your riding career, did you ever have a saddle slip on you during a race?
I have had saddles slip forward and back. It's really not that unusual, but it is unusual that you would be in such a precarious, awkward position that you would have to kick both irons, but he did a fabulous job.
He got praise even from trainer Jennifer Peterson, but today he will not ride Pavo because, as Peterson told us earlier, it was Garcia's decision not to ride Pavo, and she gets the services today of Hall of Famer Jerry Bailey, as now we see the controversy in the stretch.
Right here you'll see, right there with the right-handed stick, here you go, Naughty New Yorker's head comes up when he was struck over the head with a whip, which also isn't unusual in horse racing, but the horse was disqualified for it.
When I spoke to Peterson today, and she has filed a protest over this race, it is still not official. The money has not been distributed. The New York Racing Board in Albany, in a matter of days, will take another look at it and hear Peterson's side. She claims a survivalist on the outside forced Naughty New Yorker to move closer to the path of Pavo. Had that not been the case, she claims that Garcia never would have unintentionally struck Naughty New Yorker. At least that's what the trainer, Jennifer Peterson, told me earlier today is why she has lodged the protest. So this is still not an official race at this time.
I think it's a bit of a long shot, but she has the right to appeal it. And now we see Survivalist coming onto the racetrack, and that's the horse that is involved in this inquiry.
Survivalist trained by the Hall of Famer, Shug McGahee. He had a second-place finish to the Nick Zito-trained Sun King at Gulfstream Park back in February, and has the riding services of Richard Migliori, as you see the famous silks of the Phipps Racing Stable there with that black and the cherry cap. And there's Bellamy Road, owned by Yankees owner George Steinbrenner's Kinsman Stable. Bellamy Road was the road where his family resided in Cleveland, Ohio, as his boyhood hometown. And Bellamy Road with Javier Castellano aboard. And let's take a look at Bellamy Road in action. going back March, Gulfstream Park, an allowance race in which he was spectacular.
Absolutely. This was the first start in Bellamy Road's career for trainer Nick Zito, and it was off of a 4-month layoff, and he just romped. Won that race by almost 16 lengths.
15 3/4, they said, but it looked like a pole and a half, didn't it, to those that were trying to catch him? Enough, certainly, to bring interest into any horse trained by Nick Zito right now, who could have as many as 5 horses going on
Bellamy
to Churchill Downs.
3-1, still the favorite. Survivalist 9-2, Going Wild 5-2. Pavo, Galloping Grocer, and Naughty New Yorker. So it is Going Wild now the favorite at 5-2. Let's get the opinions of our analysts here on the Wood Memorial. Chelsea?
Well, I think I'm going to have to take Pavo with Jerry Bailey at 6-1. He had a terrible time last time out with losing the irons, and he just got beat. So I think it's going to be a different story today, and he can sit just off what's going to be a really hot pace.
Mike?
Well, it's never smart to pick against Nick Zito, but I'm going to pick against him anyway. I'm going for Going Wild. You know, Wayne Lucas has got this horse right. I think this was the second best horse here in California behind Declan's Moon. Wayne Lucas never won the Wood Memorial before. This is going to be his day. Going Wild.
One thing you probably wouldn't do this spring would be pick against Nick Zito, and Mike just did. Can he?
I'm sure Nick will enjoy hearing that. His last race out, he finished the second to last year's 2-year-old champ, Declan's Moon. That was at Santa Anita. He actually began his career here for Wayne Lucas at Belmont Park and then shipped to Santa Anita, comes back now to the East Coast for the first time in several months.
And he's in good hands. Victor Espinoza has only ridden him one time, and that was a win in the Sham Stakes, the race that you're watching right now. Wire-to-wire victory out at Santa Anita. He came back out of that race and came back and really ran a good race in his next effort. It was not a winning effort, but he ran second behind Declan's Moon, who was the early Derby favorite until he came off the Triple Crown Trail.
And when we spoke with D. Wayne Lucas yesterday, he was very excited about Going Wild, a big, strong, good-looking horse, as you see there in the colors of Bob and Beverly Lewis, their alma mater, the University of Oregon, the Ducks there in that green and gold. He talked about how strong he was, the kind of horse that could hold up for a campaign looking down the road.
Absolutely. I asked Wayne why he shipped him out here instead of running him out in California, and he said this was the race he had put on the map for him 2 months ago. And even though it came up the way it did out at California, where he actually probably could have run in that race once Declan's Moon was off the Derby trail, I think originally he tried to avoid him. He decided 2 months ago this is what he's doing, and he stuck with his original plan.
So the California Invader Going Wild, the favorite right now for the 81st running of the 1 1/8 Wood Memorial, coming up in just a few moments here. Naughty New Yorker, Jean-Luc Samine will ride. We saw Naughty New Yorker inadvertently get the whip in the face in his last race in the Gotham. He's trained by Pat Kelly for owner Peter Schiff. This is a second-generation deal. Kelly's father, the Hall of Famer Tommy, trained 1980 Wood Memorial winner Plug Nickel, who was owned by Schiff's father, John. Can they repeat the feat now 25 years later?
Naughty New Yorker makes a lot of changes today. He's a horse that comes from off the pace. He gets the longest distance he's ever run over, 1 1/8. He had a run-out blinker on him for his last couple of races. Pat Kelly said it was just a formality. He really didn't need it anymore. They've now put him in normal blinkers. And additionally, he's first-time Lasix. He said that he bled just a little bit in the Gotham stake last time out, and he adds Lasix today. I think he's going to make an awfully strong run through the stretch, Kenny.
We took a look at the odds right there. It's pretty much a Zito Lucas exacta, only a few $100s now separating Bellamy Road and Going Wild for those that are wagering here at Aqueduct. As you look at the number 3 horse, Bellamy Road, virtually the co-favorite right now with Going Wild. And there is Going Wild, the number 5 horse, as they load into the Guinness starting gate.
Well, I think that when the gates open, I do think that I think a couple of the riders in here are going to shoot for an easy lead. But because of that, I don't think there's going to be an easy lead to come by.
Fast track, the record 147-1 for the stakes here. Let's go up to Tom Durkin for the call of the Wood Memorial.
They're in the gate. And they're off. in the Wood Memorial. Bellamy Road breaks well, but shifts in just a little bit. That affected Scrappy T. But it's going to be Bellamy Road who takes the field into the first turn. Going Wild is right up there with him. Pavo's up close to the pace on the outside third. Scrappy T is fourth and down toward the rail. Galloping Grocer in behind that group. And then Survivalist settles in at the back of the pack. And the trailer is the stretch running Naughty New Yorker, who's about 9 lengths from Bellamy Road, who negotiates a sharp first quarter. This pace is quick over this glib track today. 23 flat for the first quarter. So Bellamy Road moving at a strong pace, continues down the backstretch. He's being pushed along there by Victor Espinoza and Going Wild. Scrappy T very keen to go on. He's third but bottled up on the inside. Pavo is now tailed off 5 lengths from Bellamy Road. A break of another 4 back to Galloping Grocer, who's lost some ground. Still at the back, our Survivalist, the Naughty New Yorker. Naughty New Yorker is now a dozen lengths from Bellamy Road, whose half was 46 seconds flat. Into the far turn, Bellamy Road committed to the lead, and he lets it out a notch to lead by a length and a half. Scrappy T runs in second. Going Wild under a ride, but no response, and Going Wild is stopping badly. Farther back, Survivalist is kicking in, and Galloping Grocer is moving with him. But the one to catch with a quarter mile to go is Bellamy Road, who heads for home under a hand ride with a 4-length lead over Scrappy T. Survivalist runs in third. Galloping Grocer is toiling in fourth. They're coming into the final furlong, and this is a dazzling performance by a dazzling 3-year-old. Bellamy Road. He's turning the Wood Memorial into an absolute runaway. He'll just cruise home here. Scrappy T and Survivalist are second. They have been beaten by more than 15 lengths. Bellamy Road wins with something left. Survivalist came on to be second. Scrappy T was third. The final time was 1:47 flat, equaling the track record, and it is Nick Zito, Javier Castellano, and George Steinbrenner taking Bellamy Road to Louisville.
Tom Durkin, Bellamy Road has just hit a grand slam for Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. Steinbrenner owned 1985 winner, Eternal Prince, and 20 years later, Bellamy Road comes in carrying the Steinbrenner colors and picks up an impressive, maybe the most impressive Derby Prep win so far, Donna Brothers.
Bellamy Road was impressive last time out in an allowance race, but to do what he just did today in this tough stakes competition in the Wood Memorial, tie the track record in 1:47, was just an unbelievable performance I really didn't expect to see from anyone today.
As you see, coming in, Javier Castellano, hands-down winner with Bellamy Road. Bellamy Road now 2 for 2 this year, 2 for 2 since coming to the stable of Nick Zito, Survivalist, and Scrappy T, and everyone else way behind Bellamy Road, who sets a stakes record here, breaking the mark set by Private Terms by 1 tick and equaling the track record set by Riva Ridge the year after he won the Kentucky Derby here in 1973. So Bellamy Road, yet another star in the Nick Zito stable on his way to Churchill Downs. Let's go back to California and Tom.
All right, Kenny, Zito strikes again, and this maybe is the horse we've been looking for. That was some performance, wasn't it? 15 lengths, Tom Durkin said, and you could see he was eased. And brace yourself, Louisville. The boss is coming to the Derby. Memorial. Let's go back to Kenny and Donna to wrap it up.
Thanks, Tom. As you look at Bellamy Road here in the Aqueduct Winner's Circle, the winner of the 81st running of the Wood Memorial. Ridden to victory today in impressive fashion by Javier Castellano. Nick Zito, we've talked about what a powerhouse he is. He may have as many as 5 horses in a month on that first Saturday May at Churchill, Donna, as we take one more look at the colors of George Steinbrenner with Bellamy Road on the way to the winner's circle.
He said he was going to need a big race out of him today to buy his ticket into the Kentucky Derby. I can't imagine a bigger race than the race he put up today in the Wood Memorial.
And talk about graded stakes earnings, $450,000 to the winner there, Bellamy Road, so certainly no doubt about that as he cruises along on that road to Louisville, returning 7-10 as the slight favorite over Going Wild. $7.10, $4.90, and $4.10. Survival is $6.10 and $5. Scrappy T $5.90. And you look at that 147.16. That equals the track record that was set here by the 4-year-old Riva Ridge back in 1973, and that breaks the stakes record that was set by Private Terms. And we look at the final order of finish. It is Bellamy Road, Survivalist, Scrappy T, Galloping Grocer, and bringing up the rear was Going Wild. As a happy Nick Zito joins us right now. And Nick, congratulations on the victory. We talked earlier, you said you wanted to see a performance out of him. Did you expect to see that kind of performance today?
No question, Kenny. I dedicate this race to my mom because my first Wood Memorial was 36 Red, and that was her favorite horse, and this got us started. So it's been a great day today. What could I say? And it's a tremendous horse, so we're going to keep it going.
Don and I were talking to you earlier. You said you didn't want to be put on the spot as to who is your best horse of the 5 that you had in there, but he opened a lot of eyes. Did he open yours with this performance at all? Did you expect something like this?
Well, he's a tremendous horse, and, you know, I could thank Mr. Steinbrenner and the family for, you know, for sending us the horse and everything, but those 5 horses, you know, they're in our stable, and, you know, they're like kids. I don't know any mother or father or parent that, you know, chooses one over the others, but this is good. Put it this way, I'm glad he's in the family.
Hey, look at this. He's all by himself, too. Did you expect it to be this easy?
Well, you know, this kid's in the zone, Javier Castellano. He's a great jockey, and I said, look, let's take our chance. I didn't like that too much, but that's the way it goes. You know that, Donna, you rode, you know. But I can tell you one thing, he's a terrific horse, and this jockey did a good job, and I wanted him to just be free. We took our chance, and so lo and behold, it was great.
You'll have to get a lot of bags packed and probably order some extra tickets for all those trips to Louisville with family and friends and all the owners coming in.
Well, that's what it's about, Kenny, and that's okay with me. You know, more the merrier, and I thank God up above. As you know, there's no question he's been rocking me in his arms all winter, and whatever happens, he's been my man.
Congratulations, Nick.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Nick Zito won this race with 36 Red, won it with Adonis, was second here with Go for Jen in 94. That turned out to be his Derby winner, and an awesome performance today here, Donna Brothers, for the Nick Zito trained Bellamy Road.
As many years as Nick Zito's trained for George Steinbrenner, I'm sure he's awfully happy to get a horse of this caliber to the Kentucky Derby for him.
Let's go back now as you look at a happy Nick Zito, very happy New Yorker today, back home here at Aqueduct. Let's go back to California and Tom.
To the 1, 2, 3, and 9. The problem is, Mike, you're not going to make any money. In fact, if Greeley's Galaxy wins, you're going to lose money.
That's exactly right. You make a little bit of money if any of the other 3 wins, but if Greeley's Galaxy wins, we hit the pick 3 and lose money. Tough way to go, Tom.
Well, Charles, you're thinking about the Illinois Derby. This is a race that's bounced around Sportsman's Park, Hawthorne. It used to be run after the Kentucky Derby, but earned its stripes as a Derby prep with War Emblem back in 2002.
Well, exactly. As you said, it used to be sort of the consolation prize after the Kentucky Derby, and now it's extremely important for getting horses. And War Emblem appeared out of here. I mean, this was a situation where a star was born, but because there really hadn't been any horses coming out of the Illinois Derby, everybody let him slip under the radar screen at the Kentucky Derby.
And, of course, they went on to win under the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs after being purchased by the Thoroughbred Corporation. Well, is there a War Emblem in this year's Illinois Derby? To find out, let's go to Bob Newmeyer at Hawthorne.
It's a beautiful day outside Chicago. Temperature is in the mid-60s, a nice breeze, and 8 3-year-olds set to go to post for the 48th running of the Illinois Derby. This is at 1 1/8 with a purse of $500,000. Bob Newmeyer back with you again. Well, these horses thus far haven't run the kind of times or speed figures that would make them competitive for the Kentucky Derby. But let's face it, they're 3-year-olds. They're explosive. We just saw Bellamy Road run off the screen. And it's going to take a performance like that, a la War Emblem, to really make one of these horses competitive, I believe, at Churchill Downs on the first Saturday in May. With that in mind, let's take a look at the 8 that will go postward. And we begin with a couple of inexperienced horses. One that's getting bet off the board, and that is Greeley's Galaxy, down to 8-5, shipping in from the West Coast. Kent DeSomo has come from Los Angeles for this mount. Monarch Lane out of the Todd Pletcher stable, another inexperienced colt. Fans like his chances today. Magna Graduate, he's had 8 career races. He's been competitive, and he's a terrific price on the board at 6-1. Rickman, Speed, Bill Mott, Herb Castillo, He's at 9-2. Unbridled Energy was scratched this morning with a fever. The French-bred Mitigating, no respect. The Illinois-bred Win Me Over, no respect. Daddy Joe has speed, and Kansas City Boy is at 4-1 with Chris Amy. All right, we've talked a little bit about the inexperience of some of these horses. Here's a perfect case in point, Greeley's Galaxy. He's not even nominated for the Triple Crown, so if he were to run big today, his owner, B. Wayne Hughes, would have to pony up about $200,000 to get him in the field, and he's being bet to 8-5. Monarch Lane, well, that's the Todd Pletcher stable, and he's always tough. He won this race with Pollard's Vision in 2004. He won the race with Distilled in 2001. He's only had 2 career races, but his last effort, he chased Sun King and Survivalist, and it was a nice third to his credit. Now, we talked about a couple of the more experienced horses. One of them is Kansas City Boy, but he's got a major problem, and that is a poor post position here at Hawthorne. Again, Kansas City Boy ran a nice second, and that was at Gulfstream Park to a horse called Closing Argument, and he took the lead in this race, eventually losing it to Closing Argument, who's a nice horse, no disgrace here. But then Kansas City Boy went to the Arkansas Derby and ran a poor fourth, and when I told Kenny McPeak that posts 8 and out here at Hawthorne are 0 for 45 for the meet, the blood drained from his face. So he's a speedball. He's got to get a position somehow with Chris Amy on Kansas City Boy. Again, the dreadful 8 or out post position, 0 for 45 here at Aqueduct. Herb Castillo Jr. won this race with Vision and Verse back in 1999. So he's going to be part of the pace. Monarch Lane should be part of the pace. Daddy Joe wants to go from the 7-hole with the scratch of Unbridled Energy, and Kansas City Boy, he's going to want it as well. So who's going to be left standing at the 8th pole? Who's going to be able to finish in this race? I think Tom Hammond, those are the critical elements to this Illinois Derby as we're approaching post time here at Hawthorne.
Well, given all you've said, Bob, would it take a dominating performance today to get a ticket punch to Churchill Downs?
Well, all these horses need graded earnings, that's for sure. Now, the winner will get 60% of the $500,000 purse, and that obviously will make him eligible for the Derby in terms of those graded earnings, which are critical to get into the race. Whether that horse is good enough, though, is another question. Again, in my judgment, Tom, these are horses that really need to step up and run a vastly improved race from what they've shown so far. And I think in part that's why the public has jumped on these lightly rated horses like Greeley's Galaxy and Monarch Lane. Loves Greeley's Galaxy and Monarch Lane in what I think should be a very competitive race. Who can finish? Who will be running in the last 1/8 of the mile? Those are the questions surrounding the 48th running of the Illinois Derby. And with that in mind, let's throw it upstairs to the fine voice of racing here at Hawthorne, Peter Galassi. Peter?
Thank you, Bob Newmeyer. We have 2 more left to go in. We're waiting for Rickman, also waiting for Kansas City Boy. We welcome everybody across the NBC network, part of the NTRA Pick 3, and now they're all in the gate. They're off in the 48th running of the Illinois Derby, and Greeley's Galaxy left well on the inside. And moving up on the outside, here comes Daddy Joe and Kansas City Boy, intent on running early. There's a mile to run in the Illinois Derby, and Daddy Joe takes the lead. Greeley's Galaxy down along the inside second. Kansas City Boy on the outside, tracking from third. Monarch Lane a bit wide on the turn, fourth. Magna Graduate tucked it along the rail, fifth. 6 lengths behind the leader. Rickman alongside him next. The trailing pair as they race on to the backstretch. The Illinois horse Win Me Over, and Mitigating is 9 behind the leader with 6 furlongs to run as they begin their journey on the backstretch. On the inside, Daddy Joe. Kansas City Boy right alongside in second. A length and a half back third. Greeley's Galaxy beginning to look for racing room and now moving 3 off the rail. And on the outside, Monarch Lane tracking from fourth. Towards the inside in fifth is Rickman. Magna Graduate has lost a bit of ground and now 7 behind the leader. Then it's Win Me Over and Mitigating. There's a half mile to run and they move into the far turn. Greeley's Galaxy make that on the inside is Daddy Joe. On the outside, Kansas City Boy. Greeley's Galaxy on the outside, 3 wide third. Monarch Lane ranging up 4 wide fourth. Rickman looks for racing room fifth, and now Magna Graduate starts the re-rally and was within 3 of the leaders as they come to the top of the stretch. stretch. There's a quarter of a mile to go in the Illinois Derby at Hawthorne, and Greeley's Galaxy comes off the turn with the lead and draws away by 3. Monarch Lane Racing second, Magna Graduate third. Daddy Joe and Kansas City Boy both dropped out of it. There's an 8 to go, and it's Greeley's Galaxy by 6 lengths. Monarch Lane Racing second, Magna Graduate third, Rickman is fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4 right now as they come down to the wire. It's Greeley's Galaxy, Kent DeSormo to win it. Greeley's Galaxy won by 7. Monarch Lane second, Magna Graduate third, Rickman was fourth. A 1, 2, 3, 4 finish in the Illinois Derby. Bob Newmeyer, back to you.
Well, very sharp players here in Illinois that slammed this horse down to 9-5 favoritism, and Kent DeSormo had a reason for flying in from California because he made mincemeat of this field. He's had a perfect trip in behind speedballs that were expected, Daddy Joe and Kansas City Boy. He was briefly threatened on the turn by Todd Bletcher's Monarch Lane, but when Kent sent this son of Mr. Greeley down, school was out for the 7 other 3-year-olds. So he has the $300,000 in the checkbook now for B. Wayne Hughes, who also has Don't Get Mad, by the way, at Santa Anita. So he has enough money now to run in the Kentucky Derby. And this clocking of 149.3 is not bad. He's young, he's inexperienced, but he's improving. And Hughes has a heck of a decision now because he has to put up $200,000, Tom Hammond, because he's not nominated for the Triple Crown.
Well, Bob, B. Wayne Hughes is here at Santa Anita because he has Don't Get Mad running in the Santa Anita Derby later, and he was watching that, and he'll be making that decision whether to put up the $200,000 or not to run Greeley's Galaxy in the Kentucky Derby. So we've seen 2 dominating performances so far. Will Julio Canani's trainee, Sweet Catamine, be the next in the Santa Anita Derby? Her fan club is on hand. A dominating winner in his first stakes effort, paying $560 with Monarch Lane and Magna Graduate, and Greeley's Galaxy wins to complete a favorite dominated pick 3, Greeley's Galaxy in the Illinois Derby. Let's go to Mike.
All right, thanks, Tom. And Greeley's Galaxy was an impressive winner. You heard Bob Newmeyer report that it would cost $200,000 to nominate this horse to the Kentucky Derby. I'm standing here with his owner, Wayne Hughes, and I know Wayne Hughes is no stranger to making a bet, but $200,000, that's a pretty big gamble, Wayne.
Well, it is, but maybe he's worth it, you know.
The way he ran, I mean, he was very impressive. He's lightly raced. He keeps getting better. You've got a while to think about this, right?
Well, no, I don't. I'm already decided. If we can get in, we'll go. And,
really?
You know.
So the $200,000. Here you go, Wayne. Oh, yeah. You're watching him run down the stretch here, and Greeley's Galaxy just drawing off. What were you thinking here?
I was thinking that Kent DeSormo was giving me a great ride, and he was right about the horse the whole time. He's been the highest on the horse of anyone.
Really? Kent's been, he's like this horse, and I know that you must have thought you had a shot shipping in there, running a graded stakes race. You get $300,000 for winning this race. Does that make it a little easier?
Well, it helps. Every little bit helps.
So you heard it here that Wayne Hughes is going to put up the $200,000. Talk about a sporting gesture, but he's going to go in the Kentucky Derby, Tom.
No hesitation at all. Maybe he'll have 2 at Churchill Downs. Don't Get Mad runs in the Santa Anita Derby still to come. And, of course, also in that race, maybe the forgotten one, Craig DeLassy trains him. He's a Breeders' Cup winner, too. It's Wilco, winner of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile at Lone Star Park. Jacques Lamo at 6-1. Sweet Catamine 4-5. Don't Get Mad at 6-1. And the other are long shots until you get down to Wilco at the bottom on the outside post at 4-1. So Sweet Catamine, the heavy odds-on favorite here to beat the boys. First time she's faced the males. And the horses making their turn around the walking ring in the paddock and will soon head out to the main track here. Here's the call to the post. With the elaborate call to the post, there's Wilco. Remember him from Lone Star. He's been battling some hoof problems, quarter cracks throughout this winter and spring campaign. But Craig DeLassy has him set to go post for today in the Santa Anita Derby. Not getting much respect at 4.
With that extreme outside post position, but he's tough and he'll come running. But ever since he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, he's burdened with a whole lot more baggage than just a bad post. Before Wilco's big upset in last year's Breeders' Cup Juvenile, Paul Redham purchased a majority interest in the colt, then sent him to trainer Craig DeLassy, who also inherited some enormous pressure. In 21 years, no juvenile champion has ever gone on to win the Kentucky Derby. Can Wilco dodge the juvenile jinx?
I figured if the Boston Red Sox could, win the World Series, there's a jinx that went on for years, so I figured, why can't we, right? So I don't believe in that jinx stuff.
Well, maybe not, but so far, Wilco's 3-year-old campaign has been anything but smooth.
We originally had the Santa Catalina penciled in for his first race, but that delayed plans with the weather that we had. So we delayed it 2 weeks and came into the San Felipe. I figured I probably had him about 90% maybe going into that race. Unfortunately, we've had our little setbacks along the way with his feet, but hopefully that's all behind us now. And first Saturday in May is just around the corner, so we're pretty excited. This horse, he's got so much courage and stamina to him. He's not a very big horse. He's barely 15 hands. But he's made very well. He's got a great disposition about him. The main asset to him probably is between his ears. He's a very smart horse. He's a very durable horse. He's already proven that. He's run 12 times, you know. He ran 10, 11 times as a 2-year-old. He's got a real classy demeanor about him. Once you put that saddle on, though, he's all racehorse, so you can just see the competitiveness come out of him.
Another catalyst might be the return of Frankie Dettori, Wilco's partner for his juvenile victory.
When we got that call from last week saying, I want to ride your horse, and we were ecstatic. Very pleased that Frankie really hasn't lost any faith in the horse. This horse is a fighter, and Frankie's unbelievable rider, and I think he'll get the best run out of this horse.
And now the 34-year-old DeLassy, who has already achieved great success, feels Wilco has the right stuff to obtain the ultimate prize.
That would top a lot of things off, that's for sure. That was a special moment for me to be the youngest trainer to win a Breeders' Cup race. To win a race, just be part of the magnitude of the Kentucky Derby, and if any horse could do it, Wilco's the horse to do it. I'm pretty confident.
It'll be the first time that the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies winner have squared off as 3-year-olds. Frankie Dettori aboard Wilco. Frankie flew from England to get here. That's about 5,400 miles. And after he rides Wilco today, he's going to fly 20 hours back to Dubai tonight, and then 6.5 hours back to England to ride at Newmarket later this week. The 1 1/8 doesn't seem like anything to Frankie, who told us they used to spend the winters here in Southern California. He used to sneak into Santa Anita. He's riding in his first Santa Anita Derby.
Really, but I can't honestly say that I could go up and bet on her at 4 to 5. If I'm betting my money, it's got to be on Giacomo. This horse has had 5 straight route races. He's won a race at a 1 1/8. I'm sorry, he ran 3rd at a 1 1/8. I don't like the way Going Wild ran in the wood, but I have to take the Colts. I think that he's got a shot. I think Don't Get Mad has got a shot. The filly can win, but 4 to 5, I got to pass on that one, Tom.
All right, so you're taking Giacomo at 6 to 1 currently. And Charles, you want to win them all. Young Kristen Mulhall, who has hit the big time in a hurry in her training career at 18 to 1.
Well, she had Imperialism last year in the Kentucky Derby. Her barn's gone a little cool right now, but she'll be back soon. And Want to Win 'em All ran well. She took him up to Bay Meadows for the El Camino Real Derby. He was a decent second up there. He's lightly raced, and we really, haven't seen all of him yet. Here we are at El Camino Real Derby, and he was coming from off the pace that day. The eventual winner, Uncle Denny, is long gone on the lead, but watch him close. I mean, he makes a very good effort here.
And Buzzards Bay also in this race, and Buzzards Bay trained by Jeff Mullins, who has upset the field the last 2 years in a row, including Castledale last year. Mullins would be the first trainer to ever train 3 consecutive Santa Anita Derby winners. As you look at Want to Win 'em All, trained by Kristen Mulhall, ridden by Alex Solis, who looks for his 4th victory of the day.
Alex Solis just coming back from a pretty serious injury, and seems to be back to his full self.
B. Wayne Hughes has already won the Illinois Derby and says he'll put up the $200,000. And hoping that Don't Get Mad can win here after he won the Illinois Derby earlier and has already Greeley's Galaxy headed to Churchill Downs.
Don't Get Mad hasn't had much experience on a dry track and not at this distance, and both of those factors should play into his favor. I think he'll be very tough today.
Sweet Catamine into the gate. Look how big she is. Still at 4-5.
Here's General John B. Began his career down at Calder in Florida. Has been flying all over the country. He's kind of a hard-trying horse.
Field of 11, including the entry here, going 1 1/8 miles, the first $750,000. AP Arrow a little reluctant to load, but now goes in.
Kind of the mystery horse. He's a maiden only run one time. Everyone's trying to figure out what he's doing here.
And for the call, the Santa Anita Derby, let's go to Trevor Denman.
Just 2 left alone now for the Derby. Buzzards Bay, the first one of this pair to come forward, and Wilco and Frankie Dettori to the outside gate. Wilco up to the gate, goes in. All set now for the Santa Anita Derby. And away they go. Wilco on the outside broke well, but doesn't want to go for the lead. Buzzards Bay is right there. Now there goes General John B. up on the inside as customer in the white cap. Here's the filly Sweet Catamine getting a perfect spot in the white cap, just 2 off the leaders. All rights alongside of that with AP Arrow. Giacomo is back 4th last, but only 5 lengths off these leaders. They're not in that big a hurry. Wanna Win 'em All back 3rd last. Don't Get Mad is 2nd last, and Go Coyote Joe last. 8 lengths would cover the lot. They run past the 3/4 pole, and Customer setting a slow pace in the Derby. Between horses comes General John B. Buzzards Bay is on the outside. Sweet Catamine tucked in the perfect spot early on is 4th down at the rail, and Frankie Dettori has Wilco right there, beautifully placed as well. AP Arrow has the white blinkers in the second flight of horses, then it's all right. We come back to Giacomo, who's now giving them 6-length start. Wanna Win 'em All has 8 to make up. Don't Get Mad is 2nd last, a good 13 off these leaders, and Go Coyote Joe is last. Less than a half mile to go in the Derby. Buzzards Bay on the outside, Customer down at the rail, and General John B between them. Wilco and Sweet Catamine, they're both beautifully poised, 4th and 5th, and let's see now. There goes Wilco on the outside. Frankie Dettori trying to keep Sweet Catamine in behind horses. Corey Nakatani's got nowhere to go. Giacomo is coming with a shot on the outside. At the top of the lane in the big one, Frankie Dettori asks Wilco to do what he's supposed to and strike the front, but Buzzards Bay goes on. Sweet Catamine is battling. Down the center of the track comes Giacomo. They come for home, Buzzards Bay. Wilco is right there, General John B. Giacomo, Sweet Catamine's well beaten. Is it Buzzards Bay in the Derby? Buzzards Bay in front, General John B. Buzzards Bay has won it to General John B. Wilco was right there, 3rd. Giacomo was 4th. And Sweet Catamine finished up 5th.
What about Jeff Mullins? That's 3 in a row. The first trainer to ever win 3 straight Santa Anita Derbies, and he does it with 3 long shots. Buzzards Bay and Mark Guidry holding on to win the Santa Anita Derby. And Sweet Catamine, the Wygods, Marty and Pam Wygod, the owner and breeder of the champion filly, saw her move into contention on the inside. Frankie Dettori on Wilco was intent on keeping her trapped inside. Didn't have anywhere to go, and then Chelsea flattened out.
Well, as you said, she was waiting, and then finally when there was room, there was nothing there. She is empty, and they're running away from her. But there you have Buzzards Bay. He was tough. He hung tough all the way in a big race from General John B. And Wilco just trying his heart out. And he certainly gave us that forward move, that progression that we want to see. So I'd say we see 2, maybe 3 of these horses going on to Kentucky.
And Buzzards Bay at 30-1 wins the Santa Anita Derby after 2 dominating performances by favorites in the Wood and the Illinois Derby. A shocker at Santa Anita. Century 21 winner's circle is Buzzards Bay, who will put up the 5th longest win price in Santa Anita Derby history. He's a Florida bred, a 3-year-old colt by Marco Bay out of Life's Last by Seneca Jones, owned by the Fog City stable, giving Jeff Mullins 3 straight wins in this race, and ridden to victory by Mark Guidry, who moved his tack from Kentucky to California and notches his biggest win so far. And Buzzards Bay holding off the would-be challengers in the final yards, while Sweet Catamine, number 3 in the light blue silks, nowhere to go at the moment, and Frankie Dettori riding Wilco makes sure that she stays down there, but she just doesn't have any closing kick, Chelsea.
No, she didn't. You could see that Corey was sort of riding her there, leaving the turn, even though there wasn't really anywhere to go. He was having to ride her to keep her up in there to find the opening when it did appear. She just seemed to be flat. She certainly wasn't showing us that big sweeping move that we looked at in the tape pieces earlier.
Buzzards Bay had been third in the El Camino Real Derby at Bay Meadows in his last start. Had been 10th in the Risen Star at the fairgrounds, but earlier had been a wire-to-wire winner of the Golden Gate Derby at Golden Gate Fields. And there are the prices, $62.20. As we said, that's the 5th longest price ever. General John B. Place paying $40 is the biggest place price in Santa Anita Derby history. So lighting up the tote board at Santa Anita today, and the principals of the Fog City Stable crowding the winner's circle there to surround their hero, Buzzards Bay, who now one would imagine will set sail for Churchill Downs, and Jeff Mullins will have another horse in the Kentucky Derby. And the full order of finish in the Santa Anita Derby: Buzzards Bay, General John B., and Wilco. Giacomo finished 4th, Sweet Cat O' Mine fading to 5th. Don't Get Mad, Go Coyote Joe, Want to Win 'Em All, AP Arrow, All Right, and Customer. Buzzards Bay takes that winner's share of the purse and has more than enough graded earnings to earn the trip to Churchill Downs. And Mark Guidry, how happy, Chelsea, he must be that he went west, young man.
Absolutely. He's done very well since he moved his tack out here, and this is certainly the PS, maybe for his whole career, not just for this move to California.
The hero of the hour, Jeff Mullins, he's with Mike.
All right, thanks, Tom. And Jeff Mullins, congratulations. You've won this race 3 years in a row, an unbelievable feat.
I just wish I was a gambling man. I wouldn't have to train anymore.
What about the price today?
Well, I wasn't worried about the price because it don't make a difference to me, but we had a lot of confidence in the horse, and you know, I've never had a horse come into this race this good, and Mark stuck by me, and the horse has just done great.
Well, we've got Mark Guidry here, and Gid, what a ride you put up. Did you know the pace was slow? You took him into the race pretty daggone early.
Well, me and Jeff discussed it, and they didn't look like they were going to have too much pace, and so he broke real well, and I wasn't going to take it away from him, you know.
Here you go, Gid, right here. They're coming at you now, and you know, it looked like some was going to probably go by you, but you got horse left.
Well, you know, that's what's so great about this little horse. He showed us he has so much determination, so much heart. He loves this track tremendously, and it's his home track. And I tell you what, my hat's off to the team. I mean, they did a great job with him, and I'm very grateful to be able to be in the saddle with him today.
He was as game as they come. That's the Breeders' Cup winner, Wilco, outside of you there. And is this a Derby horse?
Well, I'm hoping. I'm hoping we're there the first Saturday. It would be nice to go to Kentucky that day, you know, but that's up to the Jeff and the crew.
What do you think, Jeff?
Well, you know, we got to see how the horse comes out of the race and everything, but we've been there 3 years in a row now, so no sense in stopping now.
That's exactly right. Congratulations, Jeff, Gid. All right, a big, big win. The big upset for Buzzards Bay.
Well, a moment to smile for Jeff Mullins, too. Times have not been all rosy recently.
He's been under intense scrutiny and a lot of controversy over certain additives that had come up in his horse's system. They were being penalized by having to come to the detention barn early before the races, at 24 hours early, to be under observation. So I guess there's certain validation here.
Right, Buzzards Bay, the Santa Anita Derby winner. Let's try to put the day in perspective now. Let's go back to one of our handicappers, Bob Newmeyer in Chicago, for his thoughts on the 3 Derby preps we saw today.
Well, Tom, obviously Bellamy Road has established himself as a legitimate superstar. Consecutive wins of 15 lengths and then another 15 today in the Wood. I think he's going to be the favorite in the Kentucky Derby, regardless what happens in next weekend's 2 preps. I wouldn't give up on Wilco if I were you, if you like this horse. He was hopelessly wide every step of the way in the Santa Anita Derby. Frankie Dettori had no alternative. He was just pushed out in that 5 or 6 path all the way around. He has enough graded earnings to be in that field in Louisville. Whether DeLassy sends him there is another issue. But I wouldn't give up on Wilco, despite the fact he ran 3rd in the Santa Anita Derby today. Tom?
All right, Bob, and Mike Battaglia, of course, makes the morning line for the Derby. We'll ask him about that in a moment. Charles, your opinions on the races we saw today?
Well, I thought we saw some tremendous performances. We saw a few breakthrough horses, and we saw some horses that had been kind of a little dormant come forward. So it was a very productive day, Kentucky Derby was.
Now, Mike, I know you make the Derby line, the Bluegrass Stakes and the Arkansas Derby, the Lexington still to go. What do you think?
Bellamy Road is the favorite for at least a week.